computer. Let me see.
We ready.
James? James?
We're good.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And every day we rise is a great day to be alive. And Seven Cities Forums of Hampton Roads present Portsmouth Coffee Talk morning show. And I'm here. My name is James Slim Overton, and one of the hosts and co-hosts Leah Drake Stiff and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Good morning, people.
Good morning, James.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
Jay.
How you
Yes,
doing?
good morning. And Leah, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning.
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to let everybody know our guest this morning is Nadarius Clark, and he hadn't tuned in yet, so we're waiting for him to tune in, and hopefully I just gave him a call, but he's in Georgia, so hopefully and same time, so hopefully he will tune in soon.
Say
But anyway,
same time. Well, while we're waiting for him to come on, James, I hope that you and the Colonel will give me the opportunity to congratulate Derek J. Wright and the IC Norcom Versatile 100 band staff. They competed in their first Mid-Eastern classic competition last week, and they won first place with dancers in the 2A division, first place with flags for the 2A division, and first place for percussions, and second place band in the 2A division. So I want to say congratulations to Derek Wright, as well as to the Versatile 100 band staff members and sponsors. Thank you for continuing the legacy of being winners there at IC Norcom High School. And also, if you allow me, I'd like to congratulate the girls volleyball team. They have been on a winning streak here lately. So congratulations to the girls volleyball team at IC Norcom as well. And this will, I promise you, be the last thing that I share with you. This is homecoming week, folks. Let's get ready for homecoming. Tomorrow, let me give you a little rundown on the various activities that we will have this week. Okay, homecoming this week. We have on tomorrow night at 6 p.m., the alumni flag football game. That's at 6 p.m. The admission is $5. On Wednesday night, we have the volleyball senior night. It's a senior night for the girls at 4 p.m., the boys at 5:30 p.m., and then the alumni will play a game of volleyball at 7 p.m. The admissions is $7.
so
Then on Thursday,
so you're having senior night, and the alumni, shouldn't that be called senior citizen?
you're right about that. It will be
Senior
senior
citizen
citizen.
alumni
Exactly.
to match the seniors, high school seniors.
And
Just
then
threw that in.
on Thursday night, we have the Battle of the Bands, Norcom versus Norview,
Oh, that
Old
should be
School
fun.
Pep Rally. That's at 6 p.m. Admissions, once again, $7. And then on Friday, we have the alumni basketball. class of 2002 versus the alumni all-stars. That's at 7 p.m. Admission $7. And of course, on Friday is the coup d'etat, the parade, the Norcom parade with over 70 units. And we will be represented by that beautiful car that the colonel has with our wonderful sign on the car. And that parade starts at 9 a.m. That parade will run from Norcom High School to the waterfront. And then at 1 p.m., we have our game, Norcom versus Norview. Of course, there will be tailgating going on all the time. We're going to make this, you're going to think this is an HBCU, James.
Yes.
This is an HBCU.
Yeah,
So we have
the
some
way this is coming along, events all week, just about.
all week, they have
That's
events
definitely
coming up.
college, you know.
And of course, they have Spirit Week for the students. Today is White T-shirt Day. And then on Tuesday, they have Sunday's Best. On Wednesday, they have Character Day. Thursday, Throwback Thursday. And on Friday, Spirit Overload. The revival of the Dog Pound is taking place. So come out, support IC Norcom High School as we journey into the Spirit Week during our homecoming. And thank you all for allowing me to indulge you with that information here lately this morning.
Yeah, well, that's great because it's huge and it's appropriate because it's leading into next year celebrating 110 years.
110 years next year.
And
Yeah, big
that's gonna be a celebration all year, I'm sure. I'm
The
sure the alumni
entire year
have
we will
big
have
plans for
events
that.
going on. You are right about that.
So I'm
But
sure a lot of
James,
people. Go ahead.
we had a wonderful Saturday.
We sure did. We sure did. We went to the Hampton Roads Black Media Professionals event, and it was something. And one of the people we saw there was Grady James. And Al,
Yes.
if you go back to when Norfolk State was in the CIAA, you would know who Grady James is. He had a TV show back in the day, and he would be at all, especially the tournaments, interviewing the players and things like that. And uh, it was amazing to see him. I didn't know, if he was still around, but he was there still working, taking pictures. And he has to be, I'm not going to guess on his age, but he's been around for a while.
I thought he was
And
taking
it was
pictures
great
when
to
I
see
was
him.
at Norfolk State. So
Yeah.
that's been a while back. So
Yeah, because I remember him doing when the CIAA was in Norfolk, and you know how long that's been.
yes,
That was, I guess, in the early '80s,
in the early 80s, that's for sure.
and it's great to see him and some of the other uh, media professional celebrities from Hampton Roads. A lot of them were there. Of course, Barbara Sahara was there, and she's like the senior member because she's worked at all three stations here. So she's touched just about everybody at all the stations, and she's been around for a long time. Not a native of the area, but it seems like I think she's from Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it was great to see her, but she had an experience with Leah, and
James, don't do it.
okay,
Don't do
we won't say until we talk to her and get it straight with her. But it was an interesting uh, affair.
it. It
And
was.
it was good to see, and I saw one of my neighbors from back in the day at Katy Heights, who was a media professional, print media professional, Charles Taylor, and he came down, had the opportunity to take pictures with him. But we grew up right beside each other in the neighborhood, and he went to IC North class of '70, and I think he was the top. He was one of the smart because he went from Norcom to MIT. So he was really, really a smart guy and a good reporter, print reporter when he was here in the area. I think he ended his career in the area being communications director at Dominion Power, it was called at that time.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and you saw some other people. What's the
Yeah,
chess?
Roger Chesley, yes, who follows us on Facebook. And it was good seeing him. He's a columnist. He used to write for the Virginia Pilot, and now it's something called the Mercury now. He's a columnist for that paper now. So um, we saw quite a few people who, interesting people, to see Alvita Ewer and all the folks who have decided to leave the media, you know, and
Do their own thing. Yeah.
doing their own thing now. Yes, and also, of course, you know, Dr. Wilson's daughter, April, who's still active in the media, but also doing some publicity things for Norfolk State University.
Yeah.
So it was a really, it was a, let me tell you, Doc, Chapman, it was a lovely affair.
Yes.
And the food, which was cooked by Norfolk State University, oh my God, the salmon, the mac and cheese, everything was, it was absolutely delicious.
Worth
Mhm.
the price of the ticket.
Huh?
Worth the price of the ticket.
Worth the price of the
And
ticket
then
and
some.
worth the wait.
But they were celebrating 40 years of this organization, this Black media group, and some of the many of the original ones, and the gentleman that started it, can't remember his name. He was there. Was it
Why
James
don't, when I say right,
Wright? His last name was Wright. But anyway,
uh-huh.
and we should know that. But he was there, and somebody said, "Leah, are you muted?"
Am I muted?
Okay.
Am I muted? Oh.
No, I hear it.
Okay. Am I muted? Oh.
No.
No, I guess. Well, Eric Perriman said you were muted, but so,
Oh.
I don't know. I think he's on my
He's on your page. He's not on my
page. And
page.
maybe he can't hear. I'll turn my volume up.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, let me know if you're muted. If you still can't hear it, and I'll make some adjustments. But anyway, that group has been around for 40 years, and their main purpose is to raise money for scholarships for students that are involved in the mass communications majors in Norfolk State and other schools, Old Dominion and Hampton, throughout the Hampton Roads area. So yeah, so
And Barbara Sierra gave 15 scholarships to students to be a part of the organization.
yeah,
So
yeah, to pay for their memberships. And Eric, if you still can't hear her, go to her page. Come off my page and go to her page, because I have my volume up. Might be something on this end. So if you want to hear her and probably the Colonel, maybe you need to go to her page. And John Gantz too. Go to Leah's page. I might, if you're not getting any sounds, I might turn mine off. But I'm gonna wait until you go to her page and pick her up.
Mhm.
Colonel, how was your weekend? Now you had a birthday weekend. Well, birthday Friday, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you celebrated the whole weekend.
Yeah, you know, it was intertwined with the regular business of, of just being honeydew list.
honeydew list.
Even on a birthday, you do not get away from that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So, but it was nice just to be, I am thankful just to be here another year, and having my health and everything, and and just glad to be here another year. But let me get the disclaimer before our other guest comes on, is that the views stated on the program are the guests and the host, and nobody else, so we keep out of Facebook jail. And the other thing too I wanted to say while we're out here talking is that
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
yeah, it's we need your help to continue this these kind of projects and keep this program going. And if you'd like to send an honorarium or a donation to Portsmouth Coffee Talk, P.O. Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707. And so we also have a Cash App, James, right?
Yeah, Cash App is PCT 1220. Well, the dollar sign in front of it, $ PCT 1220, and that's our Cash App if you want to donate to what we do here. Do a little something, and I think they can hear you now. I made the adjustment, so everybody's saying they can hear everybody now, so that's good.
Okay, all right. And I
At
see
least
Eric,
on my page. So
and Eric Perriman has come to my page.
yeah,
Yes.
Eric, if you want to come back,
No, he said he's watching. He says I
Yeah,
can hear her on her page.
yeah. But I fixed that problem, Eric. But stay where you are, as long as you're listening.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
Yeah,
right. And invite your
and
friends to listen too, please.
yes, and also if you want to contribute to us on Zelle, you can do that. Portsmouth Coffee Talk at yahoo.com. Portsmouth Coffee Talk at yahoo.com. Everything you donate to us goes right back into what we're doing here, and so we are just trying to share information that might be important to the audience that we have here. And make sure if you're watching us, make sure you share on Facebook, share with your friends so we can get this message out to as many people as we can. And if you go on our YouTube page and watch later, or the people that you tell to watch later, make sure you subscribe and like and comment, if you will. But the main thing is you subscribe, because we're trying to build those numbers up on YouTube. The higher numbers we have, the higher prescription people we have, the more we'll be able to do on YouTube as far as spreading our message out to a wider audience. And also it would help us monetarily as well. So uh, that's my spiel on that, as far as, but support us, and we're going to keep on bringing you the information we bring you. And if you want to know what kind of information we bring, go on our YouTube page. We have about 147 videos up there, starting from 2020, at the end of 2020, with various people. And I think you will find something on there that would interest you. And just give us a shot and subscribe, tell your friends, and make sure you share this information, because some of this information is very valuable, especially when we have Dr. Duncan on talking about mental health. We've had heart doctors on, we've had the Commonwealth Attorney on, city council people. We've had John Carlos on, who is Olympian. So we have a wide range of subjects and issues that we cover. And we are so fortunate to have Leah Drake Stiff here, who one thing knows everybody and is a great conversationist, and ask some great questions to our guests. And of course, we have the Colonel, who will bring in
Bring those Confederates in.
political,
Bring those
yeah,
Confederates in, Colonel.
bring those Confederates, let us know what the Confederates are doing, and bring that political perspective to just about any subject we have. And if you really think about it, if you didn't think politics was everywhere, you'll find out right here how politics can be included in just about anything that we do here. And so we figure we have a pretty good team here, a pretty good diverse team as far as what we contribute to the show. So continue to watch us and continue to support us. We want to take this as far as we can. So and
look,
go
and
ahead,
James,
go
look,
ahead, Liv.
and Les Young, I see that you're watching, Les. I've been trying to catch up with you. We wanted to try to get you on in reference to Homecoming 2020. I did just share all the information of all the activities that are going on for Homecoming 2020. And also, I failed to say you can purchase your tickets at GoFan. GoFan, if you go on GoFan and go to IC Norcom, it will list the various events that are taking place this week, and you can purchase your tickets then. I do advise you, if you're coming to the homecoming game, buy your tickets now, because if it's sold out, it is sold out and you will not get in. But like I said, Les Young has done an amazing job this year of keeping the alumni family aware of what's going on at IC Norcom High School. And Les Young, we salute you. And we really wanted to get you on so that you can talk about all the great things that are going to take place this week at IC Norcom High School. And before we go off, I will share those activities again.
And let me throw a little family thing in here. John Gans is watching, and John Gans is in Texas, and also a Cowboy fan. And he's our cousin. We all spent time at our grandma's house out in Churchland. Everybody had to spend their time out there. We call the mother dear. But anyway, Thomas, a message to you. He said, Julius Watson said to tell you and Mike hello.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
haven't heard that name in a long time.
yeah. So he's passing on some family things here. You use the platform for what you what you can. But,
Okay.
he just relayed that message to you from Julius Watson. So
I'm gonna have to call. Well, Johnny, I'm gonna have to call you after the show, see where get his contact info. But James, you talked about all the other people, the wide breadth of people that have come on the show, to include most of the candidates for city council. Since there's an election coming up, but I think that two of them were still running. Not running for the office, but running from us and specifically by their actions and deeds says, I don't care what the voters of Portsmouth care about. I'm going to put up enough signs and I'll be able to walk back in and I'll be able to continue the nonsense and the grift that I have inflicting on the citizens of Portsmouth. And we know who they are because they've got the most signs out there in the city of Portsmouth. And who are they? Say it loud. Paul Battle. Say it loud. Oh, Mr. Woodard. And then so saying that, and there are two members of the Four Horsemen. And so they want to continue the grift. And so everybody needs to go out there and vote and remember what they did to you and just think what they're going to do to you when they get back in because you sat home and didn't do a thing about it. So saying that, I see that Angela Jones, the old city manager that the Four Horsemen got rid of, got a new job down in Texas.
Yeah, she got a job in Texas. Congratulations,
Yes.
Angela
Congratulations.
Jones.
But she did on her way out, or on the way on back down, taking that moving van, going down to Texas. She put out a beautifully written expose of the grift and the alleged corruption.
Yeah, put that alleged in there, so we don't want no problems, okay?
You notice I said alleged. The alleged corruption centered around the Four Horsemen and what they've done. I am hoping and praying that somebody in our Justice Department, city, state, federal, or whoever, comes in and puts an investigation out there. Because the people want to know, are they above the law? Or are they like Trump? We already know Trump's above the law. So let the investigation go out. And as DeAndre says on the newscaster to pull his usual thing, oh, I wish if this was true, I'd already be in jail. But the investigation, we don't know whether these investigations have started or have been completed. Time will tell. And we'll know the end effects when we see the perp walk. Yeah. Down to the state or federal level. But you mentioned the city attorney and the Commonwealth attorney or somebody in the feds. Please get out there and let's see what's happening. Let the apples fall where they fall. Start the investigations and let us know.
And thank you, Colonel, for that. And what I like to say, and sort of related to that, Leah and I were talking earlier about this campaign season. Now, we're not everywhere, but we've been around for a long time dealing with politics in the city of Portsmouth and directly involved and sitting back watching it. And so far, this has been one of the quietest campaigns to have so many candidates running. This is the quietest campaign. And even some of the forums, candidates, not all the candidates are showing up. And I never even seen that, even places where you used to have some candidates that wouldn't go some places because they knew they weren't getting any support there. But most of them went anyway to places where they knew they weren't getting support, but they just went because because that's what you're supposed to do when you run.
Exactly. And who
And
knows, you may sway someone.
right, right.
You
You might
just don't
sway
know.
somebody, you know, that one
Exactly.
person, that one vote could make a difference to you. But the last three forums have not been, you know, I can see one or two candidates, you know, having a schedule conflict or car trouble. But to have three or four and sometimes five members of the 11 candidates running for city council, that's 11. That's not including the school board. That's
Yeah.
11 people running for city council, including the incumbents. And the incumbents, for the most part, are there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I always say, if you feel like everything is going your way, I guess you vote for them. But you have to have that opportunity to look at the other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get that opportunity. They're not showing up at forums in these
Exactly.
communities. I don't see as many people walking the neighborhoods. And if candidates are watching, put in our notes, or if you're on Leah's page or my page, let us know what the next community you'll be walking in, and we'll let people know to look for
Exactly.
you. But I
Exactly.
haven't seen any out here in trucks, and usually I haven't seen any door hangers. Maybe people are waiting till the last week, but people are voting now.
But James,
Yes.
People are voting
it
now.
seems as though they are campaigning differently now. I've never seen campaigns run like the campaigns of this year. And we also have to remind those individuals out there, we had 36,000 people who didn't vote the last time. And when you don't vote, you get what you get. So
Yes.
you need to get out there, and not only you need to make sure that every member of your family get out there and vote. You have to vote. I mean, I've said it time and time again. To complain after the fact, it's too late. Once they're there, it is too late. There's too much at stake, not only in the city, in the state, and in the nation. If you don't get out there and vote and try to make a difference, we're going to be in big trouble in this nation. So get
Hmm.
out there and cast your ballots. It's
Yes.
important. Your local is your most important election. Your state is your most important election. And the national is your most important election. So get out there and cast your ballots and let your voice be heard. And as I said before, I can't remember what city it was in, but there was a decision made in an election because it was a tied election. The candidates tied,
State of
and
Virginia.
how they ended that was they flipped a coin. And I don't want my life governed based upon the flip of a coin. So make sure you get out there and cast your ballots for those individuals who are running. Pay close attention. Don't vote for folks because they're your friends. Vote for people based upon their abilities to help. This city needs help. You know, I mean, when I ride through Norfolk and I ride through Suffolk and I see all the great things going on, we seem to be at a stalemate. We're at a standstill in the city of Portsmouth. And you got to get some progressive minded people on the council, people who have jobs. People
No.
who have jobs, people who have jobs, make sure that the individuals that you vote for have a job. What can they bring to the table for you if they don't have a job themselves? So please pay close attention to the candidates who are running and make sure that you make wise decisions. Once again, not because they're your friends, not because you know them. Look and vet them well, and make sure you choose good candidates. And maybe Portsmouth too can be on the move like the cities of Suffolk and the city of Norfolk.
Let me say, Erica Buckman she lives in West Haven. She said she hadn't seen anybody walking out there. She said she's seen door tags, but she actually wants to talk to people. And, you know, and if you have issues about the pandemic or the end of it or whatever, you can wear your mask. People are talking through masks, and you can stand your distance, and they can be on the porch. The weather is good enough for you to be out there if you don't want to invite them in. But you have to reach these people and talk to these people so they know who you
Exactly.
are. The signs, sometimes you might not look like, well, anyway, the signs are just a part of it. They're just a part of it to get the people's your name in the people. And So you just have to get out there and do your thing. Give the people, this is for the people, give the people an opportunity to make an educated choice, you know, rather than, you know, if they see all the candidates and still want to stay with the incumbents, I mean, that's their choice. And I feel much better, even if election doesn't go my way, if I knew at least 60% or more of the people voted, because that's democracy. And you know, the majority rules. You know, if it's 6, but if it's just 20%, that's not, in my mind, democracy. That's
It's not
just a few
democracy.
people getting out and putting in people that probably, in some cases, don't deserve to be there.
Exactly.
You know, but
Exactly.
a higher percentage. Yeah.
And
But
you know, and
so
James,
you're in
and
transition.
I had a lady to come to me on a national level. She said, I don't want to vote for Elaine Loria because she's for abortions. I said, honey, take abortion out of your mind. It's not about abortions. It's about a woman's right to choose. Not only does it affect the fact of the abortion, let's throw that away, but it's about contraceptive. It's about things that a woman can do with her body that men are regulating. And you're going to sit and say you want to vote somebody because they want abortion. It's not about abortion. You know, just toss that aside. It's about a woman's right to do what she needs to do for her body and for her health and for her well-being. And really, and when you look at it, ladies, they're regulating you, but they have yet to regulate the men who create these babies. So so as they're telling you what you can do with your body, they're not saying anything about the men who are helping to create. The men get to walk off. The men get to walk off after the baby is created. The woman has to stay there and take care of this child. Now, it's expensive. They said there are over 32,000 preschool spots, teachers that they don't have. Where we gonna educate these children? Folks are not going into the system anymore. People don't want to teach anymore. They don't want to teach anymore based upon all the rules and regulations that's been placed on teachers. You know, teachers are not comfortable teaching the things that they know that they need to teach in the classroom, and they're so regulated that many of them are dropping out of the school system. Not only that, formula, $25 a can. You know, and you're barely making minimum wage. You know, and one lady said the other day on the news, she said, well, they can if they have the babies, they can put the babies up for adoption. Look at all the babies who are now waiting to be adopted, especially babies of color. They're not being adopted. They're not being adopted.
Yeah.
So you got to think beyond this fact of the abortion. You know, I mean, pro or not, you know, it's about a woman's right to choose. Just as a man has a right to choose what he wants to do with his body, women should have the right to choose what they do with theirs as well.
And Leah, when you said take abortion out your name, and Colonel, I'll let you go. Take the abortion out your mouth, because it's a very complex thing. You know, you get to these things when you get somebody to say abortion for any reasons, they're against it for any reason, and there's so many different situations that women find themselves in, where that's the alternative for them. You know, we go back to the 10-year-old girl. You know, and you know, so to say no reason, you know, for any reason they're against abortions, and you know, it just makes saying the word makes it sound like,
Makes
you
it
know,
sound
you're
horrible.
like sound like you're saying a curse word, you know, because of, you know, the stigma they have put around it over these years, and it's actually a medical term. Am I right,
Is.
Colonel?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
James,
Well,
could you imagine having a non-viable baby, a baby who is not existing, a baby who is not alive inside of you, but you can't have that removed because of these abortion restrictions, which could eventually take the life of the mother. Colonel, you're a doctor. I'm your doctor, Jesus. I've moved you up a notch.
He's pretty close.
You're pretty close. And you know, and the poisons from this baby that's not viable gets into the mother's system, and the mother could die as well. You know,
it happens every day when we have a non-viable fetus. The mother has carried it from no matter what time, the baby just ceased to live. And if you live in one of those Confederate states that have all these abortion laws, that person has to either get on a car, drive 4 hours, and there's examples of it across the nation. They've had to go out and try to get to somewhere to have an abortion or to have a medical procedure to save the life of the mother. The way they want it, the Confederates want, is they want them to die.
Mm-hmm.
They want them to die because the majority of them are people of color. And so we're substandard anyway, according to them. And so you have to look at, but you look at the abortion ruling, and if you look at the Supreme Court, it was the Roe versus Wade, the original pretext of it was a privacy issue.
Mm-hmm.
With that privacy issue, what is next? Clarence Thomas
Mm-hmm.
has already said we're going to look at it next year. So those folks that are say are interracial marriage, we're going to look at that. We are going to go back and look at Loving versus State of Virginia and maybe outlaw that.
But Colonel, he's not going to touch that because he's in one of those relationships.
Yeah, he's not going to touch that. So they'll grandfather that in.
Yeah, he'll grandfather that one in.
Yeah, so we'll go back to the days of Emmett Till, which you look at if a black man looks at such and such another woman that not of his race, we'll go back to, hey, that's going to be illegal. You go back to, they also have come out and says they want to get rid of contraception. So that 30 days things of pills that you take.
That's right.
That may be illegal in the future.
But Colonel, isn't it interesting that they don't want abortions, but they want to take away your way to prevent yourselves from becoming pregnant, you know? And listen, and Colonel, and like your wife Antoinette just put up here, she says, we don't want to be like Iran, women with no choice at all. And as Antoinette also said, it's about power and control. Yes. Women, you need to show up and vote in this midterm election. You need to vote like you never voted before.
Yes. And so, and that affects, it's just not on the baby rearing to have an example. That can happen all throughout your life.
Exactly.
Throughout your life, from the young to the mid-range age to the old, something can happen that is going to affect you. And so women, it's going to affect you. But we have old white guys trying to trying to regulate what's happened to women of America. And right now we have in the Confederacy, because half the country has gone that way. And so half the country is living in, or half the women in the country are living in behind, I almost say enemy lines, because they're yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to end. We are at the 7 o'clock hour, a little past, and just want to say thank you to the listeners on WGPL 1350 AM on your dial. And also, there they go.
There you go.
So they're going off. So thank you for listening, and support the Black media, Black media. And also like to say, the people that are watching on my live, it might interrupt just for a second because I want to go on. I'm using my phone for the live. I want to go on and see if I can contact Delegate Clark and see what's going on with him. So if you go off for a little bit, you can go to Leah's page and continue to watch. But I'm gonna mute myself. And
James, while you're trying to get Nadarius, go ahead and try to get him who's scheduled to come on. And I'd like to once again give the Spirit Week lineup for the IC Norcom Homecoming. This is our time, folks. This is our time. Tomorrow night, which is Tuesday night, we have alumni flag football at 6 p.m. Admissions $5. On Wednesday, we have volleyball senior night for the girls at 4 p.m. Senior night for the boys at 5:30 p.m. And then those great members of the alumni will come out and play volleyball at 7 p.m. The admissions $7. On Thursday, we have Battle of the Bands, Norview, versus Battle of the Bands versus Norview, old school pep rally at 6 p.m. Admission $7. And then Friday we have alumni basketball, class of 2002 versus alumni all-stars, and that's at 7 p.m. That's $7. And the homecoming parade, the coup d'etat, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. The parade going from Norcom High School to the waterfront. Over 70 units in the parade. Tailgating will take place on the grounds of IC Norcom High School, and the game begins at 1 p.m. Norcom versus Norview. Come out, support, and join us as we return to the foundations of excellence. We're returning to the foundations of excellence, homecoming 2022. James? We can't hear you, James. You're on mute.
Okay, I'm off mute.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
We hear
Okay.
you now. Yes.
Yeah, I just called Delegate Clark and still got the voicemail, so we'll just continue on. I'll just say this: Delegate Clark is represents the 79th district, and he's supposed to be there until 2004, but next year he's running in the
24.
Says 84th here online here. Huh?
No, he'd be there till
2024.
Well, it says, okay, all right. Maybe this information is wrong. It said he's running next year in
Yeah,
23rd for the 84th.
he is.
But his term with the 79th is supposed to be till he's coming out of that. I think he's taking himself out of that, and that's why he's running in a different district. And that's mainly because so he won't go up against Delegate Scott,
Exactly.
which I think is an admirable move.
Admirable move.
Because the way they have done the redistricting is to put us against each other.
Exactly.
They've done it with Louise and
Lionel Spruill.
Mm-hmm. And to me, it's designed to take at least one of them out. Mm-hmm. And Delegate Clark wisely went to a different district, and hopefully he's successful there, and we'll still have him in the Senate, because even though they represent those districts,
I mean, the House of Delegates. I
mean, in those districts in the House of Delegates, but I was saying the district that he represents. Once he gets up there in the state capital, a lot of the decisions or votes he makes is for the good of the whole state. Mm-hmm. So, and looking out for his district. So we need to keep him there, and Don Scott.
Yeah, and the sad thing about it with Louise and Lionel, both are in leadership positions, which means that you're going to lose out on a leader, because if they go head to head, one of the leaders will be gone. Yeah. So the way the lines will be drawn, James, as you said, is pitting one against the other, mm-hmm. and it's not going to be a pretty picture either.
And you know what? And it's all political. How they redraw
exactly.
Lines. You can't tell me that they had a population increase out there in rural Virginia, way out there, that they had a population increase, even though we know statistics wise it was a negative out there. And so it's all about power, but mm-hmm. It also goes back to voting and how about the census, us not filling out the census.
Exactly.
We already know there was shenanigans going on with the census, because they didn't count all of the, during the Trump administration, they did not count all of the census data and how they configured it, but we were stuck with it because mm-hmm. of the illegality of that last corrupt administration. And so you need to go out there and vote to keep these people out of office, because what they do with the census affects us for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
And now you see people stepping up here, like what's her name, Kagan's, and talking about what she's going to do to you when she comes out there to take on Elaine Loria. And
And
she
look
hadn't told you anything specifics.
and look
other
and
than
and look
soundbites.
and look at her voting record. Her voting
Look at
record
the
is
voting record.
horrible. Her
It's
voting record is horrible. Look at her voting record.
anti-American. It's anti whatever you want. She's against it. If anything that's good for people, she's against it. She's just another one of them crazies out there. And I call it like that's my opinion. She is a crazy. Yes. And and I looked at one of her commercials where she had that paid the one African American
How about that?
sheriff,
There's always one.
an actor standing by the car. I wouldn't accept it any money. They couldn't pay me to do that. To turn my back on the populace and to represent something like that. And they had it out there. She doesn't support the police.
You're right.
For the folks that tried to overthrow our democracy on January 6th.
Exactly. And she could not say that Joe Biden won the election.
Yes.
She couldn't say it.
And let me say this for the people that might watch us and been watching us for a while and might say, well, you guys lean to the left. Well, that's true because that's what we were when we came on here, before we came on here, and we have to be ourselves. But I can say we give everybody an opportunity, if you're on the right or you disagree with us, to come up here and have a conversation, debate, whatever you want to call it. And we don't, you look at Fox sometime and they bring most of the people that run to them are people that think like they do. And we've had people on here that think opposite of what we do, and we give the opportunity for people to come on. They don't always come on, but we have to speak our truth, and our truth leans to the left right now. And so if you disagree, you're welcome to come on. You can make your comments while you're watching, and we'll address it while we feel that way. And you might have a good point that we have to agree with.
Exactly.
It might not change our heart, but at least the conversation, we'll have more respect for you, or we might understand why you feel the way you do, or why you vote the way you do. We might disagree because that's the way the system is set up in the United States. The two-party system, it was set up like that. It's gone kind of crazy since Trump got in there. You heard people say it's a Trump.
Oh, Nadarius Clark is coming on.
Okay, all right, well, yeah.
And James, as you finish your statement there, as Nadarius comes on, Andre Whitehead is on, and he owns Whitehead Media Ventures, and he hosts the TV and radio show, Conversations. We're so happy to have Andre Whitehead on this morning. Thank you, Andre, for tuning in to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. Nadarius Clark.
Thank you. I want to say about Andre too. Thank you for watching Andre, and he's been in the business as a independent news and media caster for almost 30 years, and support him because he based in Lynchburg, and he'll run down here to his hometown in a minute to cover a story. And so just give him, he has a radio show, he has a TV show here on channel 27. Don't know the call letters, but channel 27 at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. So watch him there. He features stories here and in Lynchburg. So I just wanted to give him that plug because he really helped me when I first started being on the radio, giving me some advice and things like that. So
and James, when I first tuned into Andre's show, I won 2 gifts from Andre's show. 2 I won an Applebee's gift card, as well as another gift card for gas. So Andre, I love you. And not only that, Andre interviewed me at the Missy show. And it's always great seeing Andre, and I'm sure he'll be here for Norcom's homecoming. Andre, we need you to show that as well on your show, Andre. Well, Nadarius Clark, my Democratic friend, you're on mute. How are you, sir?
Hello. Good morning. I'm doing wonderful. How are y'all?
We are wonderful, Nadarius.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we did mention a little bit about you, so we can get right into that because we talked about you being in the 79th district and now going to run in the 84th, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And the reason for that, and I think we explained it, but maybe you can explain why you're doing that too. It might match up with what we said.
Yeah, awesome.
And good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes. So my name is Delegate Nadarius Clark. I'm currently representing the 79th district, which is parts of Portsmouth, Norfolk, and Chesapeake. We know we had this crazy redistricting happen. So now the 79th is completely just dismantled. When they redrawn the new districts, the 79th is now separated into about 3 different districts. So now I'm going to the 84th district, which is part of Suffolk, Franklin, and Isle of Wight. And I'm running over there. It's an open seat. It's going to be a really competitive seat. And it's a seat that we need to win next year to make sure we get back in the majority. So I'm excited to go out there. I'm excited to be, going to Suffolk. It's right about 5 minutes from the current district. So I'm not going too far away. I'm just going right around the corner and up the street. But so I will be running in the 84th next year due to redistricting that happens every 10 years. But this time when they did redistricting, the reason why it was such a dilemma is because the census, when we had COVID, the census was pushed back. And then that made the redistricting get pushed back because we go off of the census data. So it was, something that just happened. We should have had these districts about a year earlier. So that way, when I ran my first time, we should have already been in the new districts. But since everything got pushed back due to COVID, it was some technical difficulties. And then we also had the nonpartisan redistricting commission.
That was a mistake.
Right.
That was a big mistake, believe me.
Right. So we started there, and then it ended up going to the Supreme Court, and it took a little bit longer than we thought in the Supreme Court as well. And then we finally got a result. And I think we didn't get that result until this year. It's early this year.
Let me say this before the other co-hosts get in there. I want to mention that you are Portsmouth born and raised. Well, Norfolk has.
Yeah, I was born in Norfolk, but I was raised in Portsmouth.
Right, and you graduated from IC Norcom, the great IC Norcom.
Maroon and gray behind his head, but I know it's also maroon and steel. Okay.
Yeah, Virginia Union University, and it's strange. Our last show last Thursday, we had somebody, Tim Mitchell, who also went to IC Norcom and Virginia Union. So it's been a maroon and steel and maroon and gray last few days. But anyway, I had to get that part in. Co-hosts might have some questions for you.
Nadarius, we were just speaking earlier as to how this election seems to be so quiet, and it's scary how quiet it is, especially locally. And we also mentioned the fact that it just doesn't seem that people campaign the way they used to campaign, going into communities, knocking on doors and things of that nature. Now, I know you haven't been a community organizer as Barack Obama was a community organizer. I know, and I came to your event, your 757 event that you had, and they stated then that you had already knocked on 40,000 doors.
Yes.
See, that's the old school. That's the old school campaigning. That's the real campaigning there.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what we got to get back to. We really have to get back to that. It's Virginia. We vote every single year. We can't have burnout. We can't get tired of voting. We have to vote every year. I know it gets redundant, and every year someone says it's the most important election. And it is at that time. At that time, it is. Every election is important. And right now we have so much on the line, definitely in Portsmouth, but even on the federal level.
And the state level, Nadarius.
Yes.
I mean, next year is the state level, but
yeah, next year is the state level, but still, all politics is local.
Exactly.
We have to make sure, that we get good people voted in on the local level, but we got to maintain that we protect the Lane Laurier, we get Bobby Scott back in there, because so much is on the line. We know that the quiet parts are being said out loud now. And we have to make sure that, we have people in place that's going to combat it, that's going to push back, that's going to stand up for democracy. And sadly, like you said, we're not seeing the old school ways of campaigning anymore. We don't see the grassroots anymore. And we got to get back to it. And that's why I think we are seeing these waves of low voter turnout. A lot of times when we do see some grassroots, it's still outsourced. So when I first started getting into organizing, I noticed that in the Hampton Roads, we get so much when it comes to field and organizing and grassroots works, we get people from other places.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to start reaching their hand in our own community and making sure our community is the community that's organizing us, not, someone coming from, California, or Oregon, or, wherever. We need people homegrown in our communities, out here knocking doors, out here, making sure that people are educated on what's going on. When I first ran for delegate last year, it was so much education that was part of the door knocking, because so many people was like, one, what's a delegate?
Mm-hmm.
Two, who's my delegate?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so, so many first times. And it was like, no one, if someone has knocked on my doors, it hasn't been about state delegate.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was a new thing for people. Like you said, 40,000 doors. We had a huge, grassroots campaign, and it paid off. When people see that you're out there and you're in the community and you're talking to them, and we didn't just come to your door once, we came about 2, 3, 4 times
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
to make sure, that it's important. People was like, people got so tired, they said, look, I already know you're coming to my house. You don't got to leave the pamphlet on my door no more. I'm voting for you.
Nadarius, you're almost like Bobby Scott. James, were you with me when someone said Saturday? Say, I wasn't you, James, to say, I think Bobby Scott has a clone.
Yeah,
It must be
I think
two
he has
clones.
two
because
clones. Yeah.
Wherever you go, Bobby Scott is there. And
Yeah.
I know, Nadarius, I'm seeing you all over the place now. You're really moving about, and that's a good thing, so that people can get to know who you are.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be repetitive, for it to stick up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be that Greyhound spirit, and that maroon and steel, that maroon and gray, that just kind of motivates you, get you going out there.
I love it, but I love what I do. I really enjoy it, being out here, being able to meet constituents and just meet new voters. And sometimes, my district is so spread out between Chesapeake, Portsmouth, and Norfolk. I believe I'm the only delegate in the area that has 3 localities. So I have to juggle, a lot of the different localities a lot. Most of the time, we just have one place and we're the delegate for that place.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's wonderful when I go to Granby, when I go to Norcom, when I go to Western Branch High School, all different high schools, and be able to talk to students, and they can see someone that, they're like, wait a minute, like you look like you just graduated high school, but it gives them that, that aha moment, like, oh, this is real. I could do this. I can be in that position.
Exactly.
Now they can see it.
Are you one of the youngest?
Yes, I'm the youngest
I'm the youngest
Democrat ever.
The youngest ever.
Yes.
Boy, Mr. Norcom is smiling down on you, child. Believe me, because you're living that life that he envisioned for us.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Nadarius,
Yes.
it's interesting that you made reference about when you go to certain people's houses, they want to know what is a delegate. Now, and I arc back to the what policy is, and when George Bush started or passed the law of leave all the children's act behind, it started dumbing down civics in the high school, junior high school, in high school area, where we didn't teach civics, which would talk about government. And so we've dumbed down our educational system, which actually has an effect on us now, as you see the rise of the Confederates across the country, to include your governor and his crowd at the state level. But that you also referenced the low voter turnout, and what also helps the Confederates or Republicans, let me put that correct to make that definition correctly, and because it helps my minority rule in a low voter turnout, those folks can get back in. And that's why you see all the issues with voter suppression, voter ID kind of things popping up, poll watchers, and all that other thing. And matter of fact, I was going out there when I go to early vote, and I'll say it on TV, I'm hoping that the poll watcher comes up to me and we won't have an issue. So, and that's the last time we're going to say that. So, but now that you're as an elected official, tell us what you're going to do, or what you did in the last session and what you're going to do next time
Yes.
as you get ready to move on.
I'm gonna answer that, but I have to go back because you said some things and I was like, oh, I gotta say something now.
Yeah, I hit a lot of them there. I had to get my points out.
No, I feel you. And they was great points because you're right. You're exactly right. Even now here in Virginia, they're trying to do things in education as far as advanced critical race theory, something
That's
that
right.
was already taught.
Which they don't teach in public school.
Exactly. But
Sad thing.
it's the boogeyman.
It is the boogeyman.
It scares their voters into voting because they think something else is happening.
Mhm.
But this is just they're banning certain books now. They're taking books out of school. It's so many things that they're trying to do. They had that hotline where, if you was teaching something that made a child uncomfortable, like now a teacher can be, go to jail for it. It was just so many different ridiculous things. And I just remember, growing up in school, it was a lot of history that I was uncomfortable with.
Mhm.
I don't recall getting a hotline to complain about. So some of these things are just foolish, and there's just tactics of the other side to scare their voters into voting. And one of the things that was a big eye-opener to me, sitting on the House floor, is just some of the disgusting language inside of policy.
Yes.
And sometimes that they think that we don't see it, or
Mhm.
they think we do.
No, they don't want you to read, Nadarius. They don't want you to read.
Right. That's what it is. Like, taking
We
equity
want a
out of
dumb
everything.
society.
Right.
If we dumb down society, then we don't want you to go to college, because most college people that are educated sort of tend to have more liberal or critical thinking process. They can see through the madness. And so,
Especially in HBCUs.
yeah,
Yes.
I can keep you down and keep you dumb, then I can be able to control you. And then but you talk about calling them out. We have to call them out. And that's one thing about the Democratic Party, that we play nice too much. When you have a governor, I'll start off with him since he's the top elected officer in this state, the Governor Youngkin. When he mentions critical race theory and all this other stuff, we have to call out, say, Governor, you are a racist.
Mhm.
And so, Governor, if you got somebody looking out here on this radio show or on YouTube, you see my name on here, it's Thomas Chapman. I just called you a racist because of your views and your actions. And if you want to, that's my opinion, you are racist from what you do. And we have to call it out. We can no longer be tiptoe through the tulips anymore, because they have taken over, and Trump has allowed them to come out from under the sheets and just spread all these lies, because truth does not count anymore. And you could look at on the national level and state level and all these levels, they don't even debate anymore. They hide. And so, and they put unqualified folks out there that don't care. Mr. Walker out there in Georgia, he carried a good football, and his brain's dead now.
Right.
But and you got Kerry Lake out there in Arizona, and it on and on and on. It's it's just crazy. Our country's going down the toilet.
Nadarius, you were.
Go ahead, Nadarius.
No problem. No problem. I understand completely, because when our governor starts talking and saying one thing, he sounds like a wonderful person until that policy come out, and it's like that doesn't add up. And like you said, we have to call it out, and we do that. Me, Don, Louise, the Legislative Black Caucus, we make sure that we stand up and hold a flame to their foot. And so this year, my first year in session, I had a pretty robust legislative package. We had about 12 bills that we introduced along a broad spectrum of different of topics. So we had one bill that was for, oh, my bad, my dog just came over here and scared. But we had one bill that was for implicit bias in prenatal care. And that bill was to support Black and brown mothers. We know that the data shows that Black and brown mothers die at a higher rate when given child, along with Black and brown children die at a higher rate. So through the data said this, we came up with an idea to introduce implicit bias training into every hospital. And implicit bias training is just to make sure that everyone is aware of different biases and that they, are conscious of when they're acting or not acting, or if they see someone acting on, a bias that they may have, about a certain race or a certain gender or anything. And we did a fiscal study to make sure that it didn't have any financial implications to the state. It came back, it will cost the state nothing to have these trainings. The hospital said, we can afford this in the budget that we already have. We went to subcommittee to present the bill. They still passed the bill over to 2023. They gave no reasoning. They just said, we understand this is a real issue, but we're going to wait till next year and see if we can find another solution because of unintended consequences from having this training.
Well, that's the importance of knowing the legislative process. You have to know the legislative process, because for that to have occurred and no one knows anything about it, you know what I mean?
Right.
No one knows anything, but there was a time when you knew how to follow a bill. They taught you how to follow a bill, what's going on, but you don't have that anymore. So people don't know what's going on. So you have to share with the public those things that you're doing, so they can know, and they can know where it has been stopped and who was involved in stopping it, which was a great bill that just got stopped in the process,
Right.
But Nadarius,
yes.
So here's a question, and this might be the answer. What side is the majority of the delegates on?
They on the House, the Republicans.
On the House. So you put this through on the House.
Yes.
So I am answering that question for you because because it is has a tent to say for people of color for implicit biases. They own that side of the house, so it won't see a bit of daylight.
Right.
And that's how they kill a bill. So
and that's why voting is important. We lost the House.
So you're there where I was going.
Yeah, we lost the House of Delegates by less than 300 votes statewide.
Yes.
It came to two crucial races, both in Hampton Roads, and we lost the House because of those two elections. 300 votes. That is a field margin. That is grassroots. That's somebody didn't get to doors in time. Yeah. So we have to make sure that we can't lose on, one, we don't need to lose. And two, if we do, we can't lose by something so small like that. And that was our own faults. So we have to make sure that we take back the House, because when we don't, things like this happens. Like you said, suppression with these bills and letting people know, we present these bills at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. They don't want too many people to be out there and, speaking in them and holding them accountable. They do that on purpose because that's another way of suppressing the information that's happening. I had another great bill. This bill actually made it through the House and through the Senate. It was a medical debt bill for statute of limitations.
Yes.
And this was to say, currently right now in the state code, state-funded hospitals have no statute of limitations. So they can come back 20, 30, 40 years, garnish your check, take a lien out on you, whatever they want to do, they can still try to get that money back. Private hospitals have a 5-year cap on statute of limitations. So my bill was to roll everyone into a 3-year deal. Everyone gets 3 years, state funded and private hospitals. Everyone agreed. It passed the House about 87-9. It passed the Senate unanimously 40-0. We worked with so many stakeholders. We worked with the Attorney's General Office. We worked with the Poverty Law Center. We worked with VHHA, the Healthcare and Hospitals Association, make sure everyone was on board and everyone was okay with this. It gets to the governor, and the governor vetoes it without any reasoning. without ever even giving me a phone call to acknowledge what was happening. Maybe it was something we could have worked out. These are just, sadly, some of the disgusting things that happens, because this is something that was going to help everyone.
Yes.
This was going to be something that was going to be good for Virginia, period. And our governor didn't see it that way.
Did he not see it that way, or there's some money involved somewhere?
Well,
Oftentimes there's money involved. Huh?
With that guy's always some money involved.
Always money involved. That's
he
for
want to
sure.
be president. That's why he's never in Virginia.
That's right, because he's running for president now.
Yeah.
Getting his name out there.
Nadarius, what I like about you and a lot of other state officials, that all year round you're out there, educating and spreading the message, and what we as voters don't do sometimes. We don't pay attention year round to what's going on, or maybe inviting you all to different events, not just those party events, but events where you can educate, panels and things like that. And then when it comes around to the session, people are trying to catch up, and that's a lot of complicated stuff to try to catch up
Exactly.
right before the session, or you try to go online and read that stuff, so the more you stay educated year round, the better you understand. And if you need to take groups up there to make your point, and you need to know, you need to be there at 7:00 when they're introducing those bills, you'll know that's what you need to do.
Right.
So I applaud you for continuing doing what you do all year round and educating. I just want to throw this question. Oh, well, go ahead and answer that.
I was just going to say yes, because Virginia, we know we have the shortest legislative cycle
That's
in
right.
the country. It goes so fast, and we only have that small window to try to affect change. So it's crucial, like you said, that we have those groups there, that we get support there when we have these different bills that people, even now we have virtual. You don't have to come in person if you want to testify. You can call in on Zoom, you can testify virtually, just so they can know that support is there. And a lot of times that changes the outcome, because sadly, when you're working with the other side, you have to make sure that if they feel like people are watching, then they will act differently. But if they feel like, oh, we can kill implicit bias, sweep it under the rug, no one knew. But if we had, a storm of mothers there, different groups there, and all these and other people demanding and say no, like, because that should have been a huge thing. I know it was in a couple papers, but still, and even for us, and I do agree, we have to do a better job as well, as making sure people know. And I think it's a dual system, because once we get to session, bills aren't docketed until probably a week before it's time to present.
Yes.
So once they're docketed, now we got to go and start making these calls, start getting ready to present, because it's like you're going to court almost. You got to be ready to debate and be ready for your bill to be strong. And a lot of times we have to do that on a drop of a dime. And sometimes the Speaker of the House has the luxury of docketing bills, and then the chair has the luxury of actually, when are we going to take this bill up? So they could be spiteful, and they can do different things to where you may have less than 24 hours before you're about to present a bill.
I want to throw this in, and then we can get back to policy. Was it anything when you were attending IC Norcom and Virginia Union that sparked your interest in politics then, or did it come much later after you graduated from Union? And the reason I ask that, because students can start getting into politics at the high school level now and work their way up. Not saying they're going to run for office, but the more they're educated as they grow into their man or womanhood, the better choices they'll make when they go to vote for people. And just being educated about what's going on, it's just so important. But did any of that happen early on with you, before you?
Yeah, my parents had me out back in 2008 and in 2012. I was out there canvassing for Obama. We was out going around knocking on doors, and that was my first experience. And I liked it. But I never thought too much about it from there. I was just like, I'm out here trying to get Obama elected. I'm gonna do what I got to do. And then when I got to college, I dove into activism a lot. And I started a social justice organization at Virginia Union called Generation Now, that was basically around advocacy, and it was also around religion. So we did,
of course.
So we did candlelight visuals. We did roundtable discussions, just to have a way where students can come together, discuss the things that we see in society. And it was right after the KKK came on Broad Street, and marched up and down the street in Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we said, okay, time, this ain't normal. This was 2016. We're like, a hate group that is known to be racist is marching up and down the street and they got police protection.
Mm-hmm.
I went to go march up and down the street and I was pepper sprayed, mace, tear bombed, and we was peaceful.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening? Where is America going? And from my love from activism propelled me into politics. But I prefer activism, but you gotta learn all aspects to affect change.
Yeah. Well, you know what, you talk about the pepper spray and peaceful protests are two different things in America today. Because one, we have two different justice systems. And for Black Lives Matter, when they were in power under Trump, they were categorized in his mind as terrorists, where he wanted to have the National Guard out there and actually wanted people to be shot. And so we have to look at what's a reality in America, that we are turning back the clock as fast as they can. They want to turn back the clock to the 40s and 50s, where we don't have a say, especially people of color. And they want to go back to separate but unequal. Right. And even turn it back even further than that. And if they are allowed to get away with it, I have no idea where it's going. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
And but we're allowing it by not going out and voting, putting them out.
And a lot of people think when they don't vote that when you don't vote, you still voted. You voted for the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, a lot of people in my generation, they really feel like my vote doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Why do I need to vote? Nothing is changing. And I get it. It's growing up in the times where I grew up, we have seen a lot of digression. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the progress that was made before our time, we didn't see it physically because we was already born into it. So a lot of things that we are seeing is all of the rollbacks. We see the coming back of the KKK. We see the coming back of the Confederacy. We see in all of the rollbacks, and it deters us from wanting to vote. It makes us feel like, well, what's happening here? I thought this was already fought for. I thought we was already. And a lot of times we forget progress is not linear. Progress is a continual fight. And sadly, this is something that we're going to keep fighting. I would like for it to be done in my generation, but in the reality, it may not. And my kids and my nieces and nephews, they're going to have to, join this fight sooner or later one day too. We hope that it doesn't happen, but that's just the way progress works.
And Nadarius, when you talk about your nieces and nephews, it just thrills my heart when I see you, when you go to these various places, you have those children out there with you. So you're indoctrinating them early as to this political process. And that's so important, and I love when I see you. I know the kids are not far away from you. So I applaud you on the fact that you keep them out there, you have them involved, and we need to get our kids involved, because there was a time when the kids were involved. The kids would get out here and help during election time and work and to walk the streets with the candidates. But I don't know if the kids are not being invited anymore. The candidates just don't know the kids to call on to come out, because many kids would love to be involved, to learn the process. So I really commend you on the fact that you do have your niece and nephew out there. I see you all out there all the time.
Yeah, and this summer, because we always go to high schools and try to get people involved, and we had a great internship program this summer. We had about 6 interns from all throughout Hampton Roads, from Suffolk to Portsmouth to Norfolk to Hampton, and it was a wonderful event. I was the oldest person on my team, so it was it was great to give people experience, because me growing up and working in campaigns for about 5 or 6 years, I was normally the token Black person. And I see so many times, and almost every campaign I worked on was in Hampton Roads. And I'm like, why am I the only one? I'm the only Black person, but 2, I'm the only one from Hampton Roads working in Hampton Roads. So it's just like, we have to build the bench. We got to start giving, the next generation these skill sets, because
that's right.
It's so, and a lot of times people feel like, oh, I have to be the politician to be in politics. You don't. There's so many other things you can be involved in. It's finance, it's digi, it's social media, it's marketing, it's field work, it's grassroots, it's organizing, it's fundraising. It's so many different things that, you can spark your interest. It's event planning. You don't have to be, a lover of policy to want to make a change. And that's what we just have to get back out there, because so many times people feel like, well, I don't want to be involved in the political process. I'm not interested. Okay, well, what are you interested in? Let's start there. Or what do you care about? Let's start there, because everything's legislated. Everything.
You have to care about something.
Right.
Nadarius, you made a great point there, getting people involved here. I many times I've been to a campaign and somebody comes from Ohio and they're sitting there giving me strategy. And it might be basic strategy that works, but you have to sort of tailor that strategy for where you are. And for them to sit there and not listen to me, I'm sitting there as a elder that grew up in the city, and they're telling me what's going to work in my city. The basic thing might work, but I have something to add, and they didn't even pay attention to what I might have to contribute to what they were trying to do, because they felt like they knew it all. And it's so important to have those people that grow up here to be involved, that know what happens here, and it might be different from what might happen in Ohio.
Right. Because sadly, Virginia, since we have elections every year, we're the dumping grounds for political workers. When they don't have an election in their states, they come here for employment.
Yeah, they come here and make that money, and a
then
lot of people
right back out.
A lot of people that born and raised here, it's good to get paid a little bit, but a lot of those people feel passionate enough to do these things, off the goodness of their heart, and they're not getting paid. And they're really putting it out. If they're not getting paid, they're serious about what they're doing. I want to, as we wind down, and we're going down, but we're going to give, I want you to appeal to candidates in Portsmouth, and also the voters in Portsmouth, how important that what they really need to be doing, because Leah mentioned earlier, it seems like it's kind of a low ball campaign season, and I don't know, I'm not everywhere, I don't see it all, but we've seen a lot of campaign season, and I've never seen it this kind of low ball. Some of the forms, not all of them are showing up, and if you want change, you can't make change if you're not out there pushing for somebody to know who you are and vote for you. What would you say to the candidates and the voters to get the voters to come out?
Yeah. Well, first I'll start with the voters, and I'll just first start by saying, I understand, and voter fatigue is real. It's a real thing. This is Virginia. We vote every single year, and it gets redundant, but we have to show up. If you care about your city, if you care about your children's future, if you care about the school board, the city council, the direction of Portsmouth, you have to show up and vote. And one, you have to do your part by doing some research, by seeing who's the candidate that you like, see who has your values and your beliefs. Don't just go out there, on early vote or on election day, take everyone pamphlet, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to read this in 0.5 seconds and just make a decision. No. Do your due diligence and educate yourself. Make sure that you're reading, make sure that you know who is going to stand up for you. And sometimes in Portsmouth, it ain't too hard to know who's the real and who's not. And you just have to make sure that you have to take voting seriously. This is a serious matter. This is going to affect your life in the future, because whatever happens on November 8th in Portsmouth is going to be, we want to change here in Portsmouth. We want to see something different. And we can only do that by everyone coming out and voting. And I'll say to the candidates, one, there's 11 candidates for school board, there's 3 seats open.
11 for council.
For council. And school board, I think it's 5. And 4 seats open. When we do the city council races and there's 11 candidates, we do ourselves a disjustice.
Thank you.
We are splitting the votes in so many ways, and we give a chance to where someone could be on council with 15% of the vote.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then we're going to wonder why we may not like that person, or that person may not do right. Well, 85% of the city didn't vote for that person. But we allowed that to happen by not getting behind someone and saying, okay, whether you did it before or not, we're going to back you up. We're going to support you. And then guess what? If you don't do right, that's when we take our power back and we can vote you out and vote for someone. That's how the process works. And a lot of times we have to get back into allowing someone to take the lead. 11 candidates is just way too much for my taste when the 3 seats are open. And it hurts the voters.
It does.
The voters, because the average voter in a working class city like Portsmouth don't got time to research 11 different candidates.
Exactly.
And do all of the things. So it's like, and half of the candidates, sadly, like you said, it sounds so quiet because grassroots isn't happening. The door knocking isn't happening. We have some great candidates that is getting out there and that's getting their name out there and knocking doors and being out in the community. But when 11 candidates, again, I just have to go back to that because this isn't a first time we've seen something like this in Portsmouth. This happens almost every time when it's time for a city council race in particular. It's oversaturated. We have to give people a chance to lead. We have to let people have a chance to lead, learn how to lead, and then when they don't do, and if they still don't get it right, vote them out and get someone new. So candidates, I just will encourage you to, one, find out your why and make sure that you double down in why you are doing this. And make sure that it makes sense for the city of Portsmouth and not for your own personal gain.
Nadarius,
Portsmouth is going through too much. We have children that sleep in hotels every night because we don't have affordable housing.
That's
right. We don't have
right.
a homeless shelter. We have poverty problems. The list goes on and on. We need someone that's going to get in here and fix this mess. And that's the message that I want to send to the candidates, because I'm over the political bickery. I don't got time for it because it's affecting people's lives.
Exactly.
And that's what matters at first. We are elected, whether we like the person we're elected with or not, to work with them, do your job as an adult, and make sure you are moving the city forward, because that's what you were voted there to do.
Nadarius, what you have said, a mouthful. Do you hear me? I mean, it just reminds me of, I'll keep talking about back in the day, but we got to go back from this senior research, this stuff that we did back in the day. Back in the day, Lucy Overton, when we had all these candidates come out, Lucy Overton had a chair in her house. Each candidate came and sat in that chair, and Lucy would say, this may not be your time to run. You know, it's not a good time to run. You're going to dilute the vote. You know, why are you running? And she would ask those questions. Why are you running? What do you have to offer to the city to move the city forward? We got a lot of people running who don't have what it takes to move the city forward. They're running from themselves. And that's not a good reason to run, you know? And the sad thing about it is no one could do anything to encourage anybody to realize, maybe I'll step back this time and I'll run the next, I'll sit back and I'll learn a little more and I'll prepare myself to run the next time around, you know? It just everybody is thinking about self. They're not thinking about population as a whole. They're thinking about themselves. That's it. And they bring nothing to the table. They bring absolutely nothing to the table.
And James, that question, go ahead, finish your point.
And you know, the amazing thing about when I was at Norfolk State in political science and the paper that I wrote was From the Womb to the Tomb. And we see that now more so than ever. They're regulating the womb and they regulate even how you bear it, everything. And you think it's not important to vote? They regulate everything that takes place in your lives is regulated by politics. So you can sit back, think it's not important. And those things that you need, you're not going to get because you failed to come out and cast your ballot.
And you also have to be able to answer the question, the people that are sitting there, the incumbents, what have they done or not done that encourage you to run? Because I talked to a young man one time, and he was going to run against a public official, and I said, well, what has he done, or you know, that encourage you to run? Because I couldn't see anything that this person that was sitting there done, and he couldn't answer it. He was just running because he could. And running because you could is not always the best reason to run.
It's
you know, you have a right to run, but
it's not the best reason.
But
because you could.
But when you peel back the onion, there are some people are running that are what we call plants to dilute the vote. And some candidates, or from the jump street, are non-viable, but they are doing it only for themselves. All of that is a net negative to keep people that shouldn't be in office, and or helping people that shouldn't be in office get in office. And then so you really have to wise up and not waste your vote and vet your candidates, because it's just too important, because the policies and the actions that they do, and we're talking about city council now since you brought that up, affects you just not doing that term, but for years to
For
come.
years to come. Years to
Years
come.
to come.
Right.
And and Gary Harris writes, there are many other ways to serve. You don't have to serve on council. There are too many other community organizations and too many needs within the community that you can serve if you want to serve, if you're serving for the right reasons. If you're there to serve for the right reasons, not just to be on council, to be seen. It just bothers me. It frustrates me to no end.
And Leon, I'm a perfect example for that, because I served in a lot of other
Yes,
ways.
you
And people
have.
ask me why you're not running, and I've been civically president. I said, well, I felt like my purpose was, civically president, working in the community. And just because somebody thinks that you've done all that, planning commission, EDA, that you should run,
It didn't mean that.
no, I felt like I could do more. And I didn't
Exactly.
think for myself, I was, you wanted to go into that arena. But anyway,
But
and a good point.
but and to your point exactly, we need soldiers everywhere. We need
Exactly.
people fighting the good fight on all levels, on the civic league levels, on the commissions, on council, everywhere. Trust me, it's a battle to be had somewhere on some issue. We need people to, like you said, to work for organizations that protect reproductive rights. We need people to get it to work in organizations that protect voting rights. It's so many different ways where you can still make a difference, and you don't have to be the elected official.
If you're there to make a difference, that's the operative thing. If you're there to make a difference, then of course you will find another way to serve.
Right.
And you don't run for public office to get a check, because
Exactly.
you definitely don't get paid that much.
And make sure that those people you elect, make sure they have jobs. If they don't have jobs, don't elect them. I'm sorry. Don't put them out there.
But anyway,
because it's not the state salary that you do it for.
How about
Amen. Amen.
People think the state salary is, but but you have to, do some other things. But we want to thank you for coming on, and we want to form a relationship with you so you can come on during the year and keep us abreast of what's going on outside of the session, outside of the agenda.
I would love to send you all my legislative agenda. We're tightening it up now for next year. We're probably going to do about 8 or 9 bills next year. We're going to bring back some of the implicit bias is going to come back. Medical debt is going to come back. We're also looking at some things for the environment where it comes to reducing plastic out of the water that we drink and the food that we eat. Is a lot of microplastics and a lot of our packaging. So we're looking at a lot of different things, even to the doulas, making sure that they have healthcare coverage so people can use that program to have a doula. So it's so many things that we are looking to bring up next year. We know next year is going to be a volatile year. It's all 140 state seats are up, and we have a chance to take back the House. We have a chance to hold the Senate, and we can really get some good things done. Even with having the governor that we have, if we take back the House and have the Senate, we can still get a lot of good things done.
Exactly.
So I just encourage everyone to vote. Even this year, we have to, on the federal level, if we don't keep these majorities, so much on the federal level is going to be rolled back. They are already planning it. They already got the language together. They already got the bills. They just waiting to get the numbers. So we have to be steadfast and make sure that we show up to vote.
So very true.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and we appreciate you. And thanks for coming on. We had to sort of ramble on until you came on, but
No problem. I'm actually in Georgia now, so when y'all said Hershey Walker, I said, "Oh Lord."
I hope you don't run.
That's you know what thing that kills every brain cell that I have. Every time I think about the fact that they would even put up a candidate like Herschel Walker. He's a football player. Let him play football. And I think he has had some brain damage as a result of playing football. Okay. But I'm telling you, that boggles my mind just to think, and it's all for power. It's not about, once again, ladies, it's not about reproductive rights. It's not about any of those things they say. It's about power. It's about power. They want to have all the
Control.
power. That's control. It's all about
Yeah.
control.
And they're
None of those
doing it
things,
all over the
all
United
of these
States
years they
with
talk
these
about
candidates.
pro-life, 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 pro-life. It had nothing to do with pro-life. Look at all of these religious leaders who've sold their souls. They've sold their souls. And it's not about it. How can you say it's about reproductive rights? Oh, but it's okay. Oh, Herschel Walker could have had babies from out in space. We don't care as long as we get the power.
Oh, they're actually saying it
They saying it. So people,
on
keep
camera.
your
I
eyes
don't care what
open.
he did. I'm voting for
Yeah,
him.
keep your eyes open. Listen, and see what they're saying. They're telling you what they're doing. And you're sitting back and you're so relaxed. Oh, I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to make a difference. Okay. One vote makes a difference.
Yeah,
One vote makes a difference.
it's a total slap in the face to us to say they can put up anybody against
Anybody,
our brightest.
as long as he's black. I'm going to put a
And
black
we,
against a black. I don't care how qualified he is. I'm going to put a black against a black. We got to stop that, folks. We got to stop letting them use us like that. We can't allow them to continue to use us like that.
You know
well,
what?
hopefully with delegates and people we have like Nadarius
Nadarius,
Clark
I'm proud of you, man.
and that generation coming up, you'll keep them educated, because at some point, we're going to sit down. We're still going to be complaining, and we're not complaining. We're still going to be involved. But at some point, we want y'all to take the complete lead, and so it's all about education at a young age and getting people involved. And
It takes all of us. It
takes all of us. It takes a
the
combination of the youth and the
Thank you,
and the
James.
older, to come together to come up with the best solutions.
James,
That experience and the youth and the energy and the education that you have now, that it's a winning combination.
That's right. That's right.
Winning combination. But
Wow.
Portsmouth Coffee.
Darius, you should have come on earlier, man. I'm fired up now, ready to go. Say fired up, ready to go.
Well,
So I love the energy. I
Yeah.
love it. And I really thank y'all for having me.
and I know I'm going to see,
come
and I
back.
know I'm going to see you at Norcom homecoming activities. This
Oh,
week.
I will be there. I'm gonna be in the
Okay.
parade. I'm gonna be all up in there.
Okay.
Will you be marching with the band?
You got your parade
I
application.
gotta dust my knees off.
Get your parade application in, right?
I'm gonna text you. So I can make sure.
Please text me, please. We
I'm
need
about
you in
to
the
do it right
parade.
now.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So, but guys, just give me one more minute. I know we're well over time, but for those who are just coming on, just want to remind you that this is homecoming week at IC Norcom High School. And I want to remind you that on tomorrow night, we have alumni flag football at 6 p.m. Admissions $5. On Wednesday, we have volleyball senior night for the girls at 4 p.m., senior night for the boys at 5:30 p.m., and alumni volleyball at 7 p.m., and that's $7. On Thursday, we have the Battle of the Bands and the Old School Pep Rally. That's at 6 p.m., the admission $7. And alumni basketball on Friday, class of 2002 versus alumni All-Stars. That's at 7 p.m., $7. The homecoming parade, the coup d'etat, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. from old school way, Nadarius, from Norcom High School all the way to the waterfront. Thanks to Dr. Joseph Knight. We are back to where we used to be. So we are returning to the foundations of excellence at IC Norcom High School. Thank you guys for indulging me. I appreciate you.
I'm not going to miss that alumni basketball game.
You
talked about knees.
We're gonna
I'm gonna
put
be in the
James.
Stands.
We're gonna put James on the bench, okay?
That's where I'm used to being.
But you can also purchase your tickets on GoFan. I think it's called GoFan. But yeah, purchase your tickets online. Go on my
Yeah.
page and I'll have on there where you can purchase your tickets.
You won't
Okay.
have to stand in the long line.
And especially for homecoming, you need to get your tickets early for homecoming. Otherwise, you're not going to get in. Okay. I'm
Okay,
sorry, guys. Indulge
that's
me.
okay. No,
Okay.
you know we agreed to that.
Yes.
But anyway, Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice.
Our community.
In our future.
Nadarius, I salute you, man. I'm
And we
so proud of
salute
you.
you.
I don't know what to
We
do.
salute you,
Thank
Des.
you so
I am
much.
so proud of you.
Be you.
You
HBC.
know it. Well, I really appreciate that y'all taking the time having me up here. You know, it's always an honor. We can chat all morning and night and evening, but I'll love to come back, and I'll definitely want to keep y'all informed with new things coming up next year for the cycle, for the legislative agenda. Norcom, I'm bringing Norcom back up to the Capitol. I brought them up there this year. So they will be coming back up there again, and we're looking to get some more high schools involved as well.
But let me know so I can come up with them, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thanks
My
everybody.
old stomping grounds, James.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in
You spent
Kenny
some time
Melvin
there.
days. Back in Kenny Melvin days.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, y'all enjoy the rest of your
Okay.
day.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you later.
And get out
Bye-bye.
there and get Stacey Adams and Warnock elected. Make sure that they are elected, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
Stacey
Take care, everybody.
Abrams. Stacey Abrams. You hear me say Adams?
I
Stacey
know.
Abrams. Okay. Okay.
You haven't
Thank you
voted for the
guys.
wrong
Thank you
person.
so very much.
No.
All right, everybody.
Well, I
Went a
guess
little
we were
long,
well.
but that
Oh,
was important. I'm glad he came on when he did, but it gave us a chance in the beginning.
wait. Okay. Now
You're recording.
I am.
Yep.